The night air felt wrong, too still, too sharp, like the whole city was holding its breath. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed, echoing off the frozen buildings. That's when Gabriel Sterling felt it, an eerie, gut-deep chill that had nothing to do with the December wind slicing across West Ridge Park. He stopped walking just for a moment, sensing something he couldn't name. He'd always trusted his instincts. After all, they'd helped him turn a small tech idea into a nationwide empire. But this feeling was different. He didn't know it yet, but the next 60 seconds were about to flip his whole world inside out. Before we continue, please tell us, where in the world are you tunning in from? We love seeing how far our stories travel. We love you to subscribe our channel for more interesting single dad stories. Gabriel tightened his charcoal coat and pushed forward, eager to get home after a brutal 12-hour day. His company's holiday quarter announcements were coming up, and every investor wanted a piece of him. He wasn't exactly in the Christmas spirit, hadn't been for years, not since his divorce. Not since Emma moved to California with her mom. His penthouse was spotless, organized, stunning, and cold. It wasn't home. It was a museum he slept in. Then, "Sir," a voice cracked through the wind like breaking ice. Gabriel pivoted sharply. A little boy stood beside a frozen bench, snowflakes sticking to his hair. He couldn't have been more than 7, wearing a jacket so thin it was practically an insult to winter. His lips trembled, but his eyes, big, brown, scared, were steady. "My baby sister, she's not crying anymore," the boy whispered, clutching a bundle wrapped in a flimsy blanket. I think she's too cold." Something punched Gabriel right in the chest. "Let me see her," Gabriel said softly, stepping closer. The baby girl's skin was pale, her tiny breaths faint and uneven. The kind of quiet that doctors warn is the danger zone. He instantly stripped off his coat and wrapped both kids in it. "Where's your mom?" he asked. The boy hesitated, voice tight. She left, said she'd be right back." That was before the snow started. The ache in Gabriel's gut intensified. "What's your name?" "Tim." "Okay, Tim, my name's Gabriel, but you can call me Gabe. We gotta get you two warm ASAP." Tim swallowed hard, eyes filling. "You're not bad, right?" "No, buddy, I'm one of the good guys." He scooped the infant into his arms. The cold clung to her like a threat. "My place is closer than the hospital. We'll warm her up and then get a doctor." Tim finally nodded, trusting him. That simple gesture, small, scared, hopeful, felt heavier than any business deal Gabriel had ever made. As they hurried through the snow-covered streets, the wind howling behind them, Gabriel couldn't shake one thought. Why were two kids alone in a freezing park in the middle of the night? And where was their mother, really? But the moment they stepped inside his penthouse, Gabriel realized the danger wasn't over, not even close. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and return to our channel for more life-changing, emotional, and heartwarming stories. The second Gabriel crossed the threshold of his penthouse, the heat blasted across their frozen faces. He laid the baby on the couch, still wrapped in his coat, while Tim hovered like a panicked shadow. "Tim," Gabriel said gently, "can you grab every blanket you see? Any room. Go wild." The kid sprinted off like he'd been given a mission from NASA. Gabriel unwrapped the baby carefully. Her lips held a bluish tint. Her breathing was thin, shallow. He'd taken infant first aid years ago, but this felt like trying to remember algebra during an earthquake. "Come on, sweetheart," he murmured, rubbing her little hands. "Don't you check out on me." Tim stumbled back in with a mountain of blankets and nearly tripped. Gabriel caught him by the arm. "You're doing great, buddy." They tucked the baby into a cocoon of warmth while Gabriel cranked the thermostat and boiled water for improvised hot water bottles. His hands shook not from the cold but from adrenaline. Then his doorman, Marcus, burst into the penthouse after rushing up. Mr. Sterling, what on earth? Call Dr. Hansen, tell him it's urgent, then call the police non-emergency. 2 abandoned kids. Marcus didn't even breathe wrong. He ran for the elevator. Minutes later, Dr. Hansen arrived with his medical bag, all calm efficiency. He checked Sarah, because that was the baby's name, according to Tim, with swift, practiced movements. She's hypothermic, he said, voice even but tight. Moderate, she'll need the hospital, but she's stabilizing. Tim sagged with relief. Gabriel felt his heart loosen, too. Then the police showed. A female detective, Detective Rivas, sat with Tim at the kitchen table. Tim told the story in shaky pieces. Mom had been doing better, but then she got sad again. She said they were stopping at the park just for a minute. And then she was gone. Detective Rivas sighed heavily. We'll find her. Gabriel wasn't so sure they'd like what they found. 2 hours later, the baby was transported to the hospital. Tim refused to leave her side. I'm coming, Gabriel told him. No way I'm letting you two deal with this alone. Tim grabbed his hand, small, cold fingers pressing tight, and something inside Gabriel settled in place. Protecting these kids didn't feel optional anymore. It felt like instinct. But as they stepped into the hospital's pediatric ward, Gabriel's phone buzzed repeatedly. News alerts, social media posts, photos from the hospital lobby. Someone had already shared a video of him carrying the baby through the snow. Great, now he was a trending headline. But going viral turned out to be the least shocking part of Gabriel's night. Because the police had found the kid's mother, and the truth wasn't just heartbreaking, it was dangerous. Detective Rivas returned with a look that said the news wasn't good. We found their mother, she said quietly. She was 3 blocks from the park. She'd been trying to buy drugs. She was barely coherent. She didn't even remember leaving the kids. Tim froze. His little shoulders stiffened like stone. Gabriel moved closer, instinctively shielding the boy. So what happens to him? To them, for now, Child Protective Services is searching for an emergency placement. But it's the holidays. Options are thin. That meant siblings would almost certainly be split. No way, Gabriel muttered. Tim's voice cracked. Are they taking us away? Gabriel kneeled. Hey, I told you I'm sticking with you. I don't bail on people. It wasn't planned. It wasn't logical. It wasn't CEO approved. But it was true. Detective Rivas wasn't convinced. Sir, this is complicated. You can't just decide. Why not? He snapped. They trust me, I have the space, I have resources, I can hire help. Tim looked up at him like he'd just been handed a miracle. Gabriel's chest clenched. Rivas hesitated, then sighed. I'll make a call. It took 4 hours of bureaucracy, background checks, emergency home inspections, and Gabriel pulling favors he hadn't used in years. But by 3 a.m., he was driving home with 2 sleeping children. One buckled into a hospital car seat, and one clinging to Gabriel's coat like it was a lifeline. When he carried them inside, the penthouse no longer felt like a museum. It felt like the start of something dangerous, messy, and real. He set up the guest room for Tim, transforming it with extra blankets and a soft nightlight. Sarah got a temporary crib in the home office with pillows stacked to block drafts. Tim wouldn't sleep until Gabriel promised he'd check on them, like a lot. Gabriel agreed without hesitation. Once both children were finally asleep, he sank onto the couch, running a hand through his hair. What the heck did you just do, man? He muttered to himself. But the truth hovered in the silence. He didn't regret it, not even a little. He didn't know it yet, but taking them in was the easiest part. Because the next few days would test every ounce of strength he had. The next morning, Gabriel woke up to the sound of crying, loud, angry, hungry crying. He bolted upright, stumbled to the home office, and found Sarah red-faced and furious. Okay. I hear you, kiddo. Tim was already there, bleary-eyed but alert, rocking her awkwardly. "I think she wants food," he said. "No kidding." Gabriel felt like he was auditioning for a parenting show he never signed up for. After fumbling through formula instructions, they finally got Sarah fed, changed, and calmer. Then came the real avalanche. Calls, emails, news outlets wanting statements. Investors asking if Gabriel had lost focus. People online calling him everything from a hero to a reckless idiot. His assistant, Maria, finally FaceTimed him. "Boss, what is happening over there?" "I'm raising 2 kids." "Apparently," Maria blinked. "Okay, sure, why not?" He hired help immediately, Mrs. Davis, a retired nanny who ran the household like a warm but strict general. He also booked a child psychologist for Tim, who was starting to show signs of internalizing everything. Tim clung to Sarah constantly. He checked the locks 5 times a night. He apologized if he accidentally coughed too loud. "Hey," Gabriel told him one night as they built a blanket fort. "You're safe. I got you. No one's taking you away." Tim hesitated. "People always say that, then they leave." Gabriel swallowed hard. "Well, I ain't people, kiddo." Tim stared at him like he wanted so badly to believe him. Days turned into a week. The house changed. The sterile penthouse filled with toys, blankets, bottles, little shoes, kid laughter, kid tears, and more chaos than Gabriel had ever seen. He kinda loved it, but trouble wasn't done knocking. One evening, Detective Rivas visited with paperwork and news that made Gabriel's stomach drop. The kid's mother wanted contact, and the court was considering it. The moment Detective Rivas mentioned the word contact, Tim's whole body went rigid. "No," he whispered. "We can't. She'll take us away." Gabriel immediately put a hand on his shoulder. "Nobody's taking you anywhere. Not without a fight." Detective Rivas set down a folder. "Relax, it's just the court reviewing options. Their mother is in custody. She's in withdrawal, she's unstable, but legally she still has parental rights." Tim's eyes filled. He wasn't angry, he was terrified. "Why does she want to see us now?" he whispered. Rivas softened. "Guilt, regret, maybe clarity, hard to say." That night, Tim had his worst meltdown yet. He knocked over his water, panicked at the sound, and curled against the couch, covering his head like he expected to be hit. Hey, Tim, look at me," Gabriel said, kneeling. But Tim was sobbing too hard. Gabriel pulled him into a hard, steady hug. "You're safe, kid. I swear on everything I've got. No hitting, no yelling, just me, you, and your sister. We're good." Tim clung to him with desperate strength. Mrs. Davis later told Gabriel, "He's been the parent for too long. He needs you to show him what being a kid feels like." That hit deeper than Gabriel expected. He enrolled Tim in a nearby school, bought him clothes that actually fit, signed him up for therapy, took him and Sarah on slow nightly walks around the building's indoor garden. And slowly, Tim started to smile more, but the court date loomed. In the hearing, the judge was stern but fair. Tim sat beside Gabriel, holding his hand, refusing to let go. His mother appeared via video call from the rehab center, tired, thin, ashamed. "Tim, Sarah, I'm so sorry," she whispered. Tim cried silently. Gabriel kept a protective hand on his back. The judge finally said, "Children will remain under temporary care of Mr. Sterling. Review in 4 weeks." Relief crashed through Tim so hard he nearly collapsed. That night, Tim whispered, "Gabe, yeah, buddy, are you gonna leave like she did?" Gabriel felt something tighten painfully in his chest. "No, kid," he said softly. "I'm not going anywhere, not today, not tomorrow, not next year." Tim leaned into him, exhausted. But Gabriel had no idea that the biggest decision of his life was coming, and it would change the future for all 3 of them. The following weeks were a blur of schedules: school drop-offs, bottle warmings, therapy sessions, business meetings in between diaper changes. Gabriel Sterling, CEO of Sterling Innovations, was basically running two full-time jobs. And weirdly, he was handling it. He even caught himself humming while getting Sarah dressed one morning. Humming. Tim was thriving too. He was devouring books, asking 100 questions an hour and bonding with Mrs. Davis. He laughed more, slept better, trusted more. One evening, as they ate dinner, take-out tacos because Gabriel had no culinary skills, Tim looked up. "Gabe, can we stay with you forever?" Gabriel choked on his drink. "Forever's a long time, buddy," Tim shrugged. "I don't care, I like it here." Later, Gabriel stood on the balcony staring at the city lights. Forever, could he do that? Could he be that? He wasn't sure, but he knew one thing. He didn't want to lose them. A month later, at another court hearing, the judge reviewed reports from social workers. Both children are stable, improving, and bonded to their current caregiver. Then she added, "Mr. Sterling, do you intend to request longer-term custody?" Tim's hand tightened around Gabriel's. Gabriel stood. "Your Honor, yes, I do." He didn't shake, didn't hesitate. The judge approved 6-month extended foster custody. When they left the courtroom, Tim threw his arms around Gabriel in pure relief. "You're my guy," Tim whispered. That night, Gabriel lay awake long after the kids were asleep, staring at the ceiling. He wasn't sure when it happened. Maybe the night he found them in the snow, maybe the night Tim cried into his shirt, maybe the moment Sarah reached for him with chubby little hands. But he realized something. He loved them. And soon, someone unexpected would enter the picture, someone whose reaction mattered more than anyone else's in the world. Emma arrived for her usual winter visit, now 11 years old, confident, bright, and brutally honest, just like her dad. Gabriel had been nervous for weeks. He had no idea how she'd react to suddenly having 2 new kids in his home. But the moment she stepped inside and Tim shyly waved, she lit up. "Oh my gosh, Dad, they're adorable." She spent hours playing with Sarah, teaching Tim card games, exploring the building, and asking 1,000 questions. Watching her with them, Gabriel felt something warm spread through his chest. Later, Emma sat beside him on the couch. "Dad, do they get to stay? Like, forever stay?" "That's not fully up to me," he said quietly. "But I want to," Emma grinned. "Good, 'cause they kind of fit here." Her approval meant more than he'd expected. Months passed, school, doctor appointments, holiday decorations, first steps for Sarah, science fair projects with Tim, chaos. Laughter, then, out of nowhere, their mother requested a final meeting from rehab. Supervised, emotional, raw, she cried the whole time. "You're better off with him," she told Tim. I wasn't strong enough." "But Mr. Sterling is." Then she signed the papers. She relinquished her parental rights. Afterward, Tim sobbed into Gabriel's chest, sad, relieved, confused. "It's okay to love her, buddy," Gabriel whispered. "And it's okay to love me too. There's room." 6 months later, the adoption hearing arrived. The judge smiled at Tim and Sarah. "Do you want Mr. Sterling to be your father?" Tim nodded fiercely. Sarah babbled happily. The gavel fell. Adoption granted. Gabriel Sterling walked out of the courtroom a different man than he'd walked in. A father again. But this time by choice. But the first night as an official family would bring a surprise none of them expected. That night, the newly minted family of 3, plus Emma on video chat, sat together in the living room. Toys everywhere, couch pillows on the floor, taco wrappers on the table. Gabriel's once pristine penthouse looked like a kid tornado had spun through it. He couldn't imagine it any other way. Tim built a block tower while Sarah crawled around chewing on a stuffed elephant. Emma watched from the screen, cheering them on. Gabriel sat back, absorbing the moment. He felt peace, actual peace. The kind he hadn't felt since before the divorce. Maybe before the company, maybe before everything. Then Tim suddenly looked up. "Gabe, Dad." Gabriel froze. The word hit him like sunlight. Yeah, he said, voice catching. Can we go to the park tomorrow, the one you found us in, but like not for sad stuff, for new memories? Gabriel swallowed hard. Yeah, buddy, we can do that. The next day, bundled in warm coats, they returned to West Ridge Park. Snow fell gently, nothing like the brutal storm from that night. Tim stood by the bench where everything changed. This place used to make me scared, he said quietly, but not anymore. Sarah giggled from Gabriel's arms. Tim smiled. Now it's where you saved us. Gabriel ruffled the boy's hair. Nah, we saved each other. They spent the afternoon throwing snowballs, making lopsided snowmen, and laughing so hard their sides hurt. As they headed home, Tim slipped his hand into Gabriel's. Dad, he said softly. Yeah, Tim. We're your family now, right? For real? Gabriel squeezed his hand. For real. Forever. For the first time in years, Gabriel felt the warmth of Christmas, not the lights, not the gifts, not the hype. The real thing, a family forged in snow, born from chaos, built on choice, and held together by a love none of them saw coming. The end.